Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into another episode of Smart Money Sundays. As usual, we're going to break down some charts kind of from a higher time frame perspective and just kind of give my thoughts in terms of weekly bias, what I'm expecting to take effect throughout the week. All right, so as usual, we'll start off on Euro USD. And obviously, in prior episodes, we were looking at, this wave play, right, kind of as A, B, C retracement into higher time frame supply where we took our initial sells here, right? But at the same time, I was cautioning price actually fulfilling the fib sequence here, right? A into B, 78.6, into C didn't quite fulfill that extension, right? Lining up with this nice lower time frame up close within our higher time frame supply. All right, so we didn't quite achieve that. And then as price traded into the kind of initial point of interest, we really just kind of trickled away, right? I didn't really see much in terms of manipulation, right? High volume candlesticks indicative of, a higher time frame shift back to the downside. Hence why, price has respected lower time frame structure here, right? But this sequence here, higher high, higher low, pushing higher now. Looks like we're going to run out this high right here and push higher, likely through this previous week high. All right, and so kind of for the time being, what I'm looking at is further upside, right? Some dollar weakness, especially to begin this week, right? Looking to run out this most recent high and trade deeper into the supply, likely up into that negative 27 of the fib extension. Right, and that would bring us in around 1.01 kind of 20, 1.0150 area. All right, so really kind of on the lower time frames, I'm not seeing much in terms of something to play off of, right? But what I wouldn't be surprised is to just simply see a quick little pull back and then continuation higher, right? I don't really expect much in terms of a significant retracement to get long again. All right, I think the objective is more so to just continue to push higher. All right. So be on the lookout for that. GBP USD, same deal. Right, we were looking at counter trend, obviously structure forming to the upside. Turn this music down just a little bit. Right, we were looking at this structure forming to the upside. Right, higher highs and higher lows. This was that level that we needed to break, right? This nice doji candlestick level of demand that we needed to break in order to actually look at lower prices, right? Because remember, higher time frame, we are certainly still bearish, right? But we have respected this level, and if you hop down to the lower time frame, well, first and foremost on the higher time frames, right? We were looking for price to trade up into this, at least up into this up close, if not through our descending liquidity and up into our 90-minute up close candle here that was never accounted for, right? But instead we traded up into here and we just kind of chopped around a little bit. Not a lot of, again, manipulation. We opened up last week right here and pretty much just sold off for the entirety of last week down into demand where we've had that final reaction, that kind of midweek reversal higher. All right, and so looking at the lower time frames now, you can see obviously price had that initial touch into demand, that reaction, moving away, engineering that initial bit of liquidity, and then we had a nice form of manipulation, right? This spike here through the lows, right at New York session open. Again, time and price, guys, can't emphasize that enough. We go into that in depth in our course. Very, very powerful stuff. But we had the New York open manipulation, right? Running out these lows, sell to buy, pushing higher, right? And so if we can, I would love to see, right, price retrace initially down into this level, right? Get that intraday discount, right? You pull your fib, right? Get that nice level of discount, whether we push higher maybe, right? So 61.78.6 golden pocket, nice solid discount to get long, right? And then obviously in terms of targets, initial targets, right, we have these equal highs here, perfectly engineered equal highs. That would be initial targets. And then obviously our previous most recent high here on the higher time frames, right? And then ultimately, right, You have this level here, and then our 90-minute where we potentially be looking for distribution to short GBPUSD. All right, so we have kind of intraday targets and we have some somewhat swing targets here on GU. Again, this is aligning with Euro USD in terms of dollar weakness coming into this week. All right, AUD USD, obviously we were looking at the reaction off of the level of structure here. And again, I'll kind of try to quantify that. Is this to me really is just a continuation pattern. It's just an area, right, a period of consolidation, right, that produced a new lower low. All right, so technically it's not really market structure. I mean, if you want to talk about market structure, I mean, we really just kind of just sold off. I'm looking at this as really one whole leg to the downside. I was just looking at this as kind of a POI, right, because we had the sell-off, we had the consolidation in the market, right, we had the manipulation, the sell to buy to sell, the new low. So I was looking at this level in terms of a reaction, right, and looking to kind of target at least here, which we didn't get, right? We just simply ran out this low here, this intermediate low, just by a little bit, and you guys can see the second we run that low out by just a little bit, boom, you get that reversal, right? So this should be kind of proof that this market is run by nothing but liquidity, right? Where is the liquidity? Once that objective's met, great, we switch to a new objective. All right, and so looking to push higher here, this high should be taken out, likely. Obviously, these highs here kind of in alignment with EU and GU, and probably trade up higher now into at least this supply. So this will be the weekly target here on AUD USD, right? See this doji candlestick, right? Pushing up into kind of 6,580 into 6,600, right? 6,580, 6,600. So if we can, obviously we can use this kind of daily down close, right? Down close, boom, engulfing. If we can get some discounted pricing into that, then look for continuations higher, in my opinion. All right, so we are maintaining this lower time frame structure here across the board on these majors. All right, USD CAD, very similar, right? Massive expansion to the upside, right? We've just been chopping around, kind of distributing some orders, right? And so I think we can at least dig down into here, go down to the kind of 8-hour time frame, right? At least down into here, right? Kind of 3,340, if not lower, right? Into this level of structure here, this old high, right? At 3,220, right? So 3,340, 3,220, I think we can dig down into, right? That would provide some discount on the higher time frames. Right, if you pull the fib, we're not technically trading at equilibrium at the moment, but I think we can get into some further discount. You can see where that 61.8 is aligning, right? And then obviously the more so extreme levels of POI down here, or levels of interest. All right, so with that in mind, I think if we can get an initial retracement higher, right? This might be a level, this 8-hour up close here, right? Buy to sell, right? For a nice level of premium to get a counter trend trade again. All right. So keep that level in mind, 3,680, 3,680. Swissy, very similar, right? Except Swissy, obviously we have very, very clean equal highs here, which is great. That's fine, right? They've engineered these highs, perfectly clean equal highs, right? That ultimately we can target once we've achieved sell-side objectives. All right, with that dollar weakness coming in, obviously we should be expecting lower prices first and then looking for excuses to buy higher time frame into this pool of liquidity following the higher time frame trend. So we still have our level from last week, right? That brings us in 9,800, nice round figure, right? It would just simply be looking to potentially sweep out this short-term low that did not produce a higher high, so it doesn't count as market structure. Right, sweep that out, trade into this level of 30-minute down close that ran liquidity, 9,800. That's going to be where my first focal point is, but we certainly could extend lower, right down into the further discounted levels of further levels of discount, right, within this higher time frame extension, right? So in that case, we'd be looking to run out this short-term low. Right, and some of you might be looking at, well, why don't you have this level marked off, right? This down close here. Well, if you look at the lower time frames, we have really clean equal lows here, and I don't like buying right prior to clean equal lows. Like, look at that. Look at these wicks. Right, even these two wicks right here on the lower time frame, if you go down to like the 15, 30 minute, you can see are perfectly equal. Right, so I'm going to maintain these levels as my areas of interest, right? Significant levels that produce the higher high on the higher time frame. Apologies if I sound off, I'm a little sick, a little stuffy, but looking to get further discounted here on USD Swiss franc, right? And then we can have nice swing opportunity into these equal highs. Yen pairs, to be honest with you guys, are really gross. I'm not really interested in them still, except for kind of UJ looks all right. And it's really just kind of the 15 minute here. Right, really just the 15 minute. We ran out some liquidity, right? Distributed, kind of pushing lower now, breaking structure again to the downside on lower time frames. And this 15 minute doji would be my point of interest. Right, I kind of like how we create high, low, high, low. Now we have inducement, right? Nice liquidity to run out while simultaneously potentially mitigating and accounting for our area of supply for a continuation lower, right? Obviously targeting this low. Right, so that might be an interesting level to pay attention to this week. Make sure you have marked off. All right, so that's UJ. CAD JPY is just the other yen pair actually that I'm somewhat interested in. Why? Because we do still have clean equal lows on the higher time frame. Right, we traded into this level here, right, creating that potential lower high. We have our draw on liquidity with equal lows here, or at least trading down into here. I think we would at least need to get down into here if we were to go long, right? So we just really been ranging, chopping around, right? And if you hop lower, I think this might be a level to pay attention to, right? As we're range bound in terms of a run on buy side liquidity, right? Potentially push higher up into the up close candle here. Look for that reaction, right? And the break lower, we can take it down at least into, again, 106.40, this level here that we just talked about, or our equal lows down here as final targets, right? But really, again, just ranging, right? Looking for that buy to sell here so we can target our pools of liquidity on the sell side. All right, so that's CAD-J, Euro GBP. Right, again, still interested, right, and ultimately looking like it's coming to fruition in terms of what our expectations were, right? We wanted to ultimately run out this high and trade at least into the hourly supply, this doji candlestick here, 8820, if not up into our original point of interest here, kind of at 8900, right? So we're getting that push higher. Remember, we're ultimately bearish at the moment, and so I will be looking for selling opportunities first and foremost here. If we bust through here, then at our secondary level, right, we'll make, if we lose the initial trade, we'll make that back and much more with the second one, right? But if we do push lower first before tapping into one of our POIs, if we do push lower using this as intraday draw on liquidity, I do kind of like this level here as a potential area of interest to buy up into the POI. Right? Really simple, really straightforward. If we trade up into the POI first, obviously I'm not looking to buy there. All right, GBP and ZD. This one is trading now finally into our level of interest, right? We had that initial supply, right? Traded into that, reacted, supply failed, breaks, flips to demand, right? We're finally been talking about this level for a long time, finally trading down into that. Right, and so now it's just a matter, in my opinion, of being patient, right? Waiting for it to come to fruition, right? So maybe chop around, right? Maybe push lower, higher, right? Chop around, make another move lower, right? Kind of accumulate, right? And just be patient with it, right? And wait for time and price, right? For things to come to fruition in terms of correlated pairs, right? And then look to get long on this. Right, for another higher time frame extension, right, to the upside, right? The massive liquidation, the sell to buy, break of structure higher, pullback, discount, continuation, another extension to the upside. We should be looking at potentially pushing into, I'm going to clone this. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fib it. Should be pushing into the negative 27, right, which nicely aligns with my point of interest here. Right, so what I'm going to do, since I've cloned it, right, is attach that to the negative 27, and potentially we could run out this short-term low, absolutely, and trade a little bit deeper into here. All right, so that's why I'm saying no need to place limits, just be patient, wait for it to come to us, right? Wait for those lower time frame structure to form and the sell to buy, right? But we very easily could dig down into this kind of 61, 78.6 area before seeing that extension up into 2.0900, 2.09. All right, so that's GN, one to keep on the radar. Okay, GBP Canadian. Right, I'm looking at this one very similarly. Right, I think if we are to go long again, which I fully expect on the higher time frames, after the liquidation, the break of structure, we need to get discount for continuation. Right, that being the case, I think we need to run out the short-term low here and trade deeper into this inefficiency, right, in the level of demand here. Right, so at least into the inefficiency here. Drag that over. Right, so with that being said, we can be looking, in my opinion, for potential quick little shorting opportunities down into this level of discount. And for me, that brings us into this area here, right, where we have the sell-off, the kind of repricing, pause in the market, and then the further sell-off. Right, so if we can kind of trickle back up into here, right, maybe induce more liquidity and then have that buy to sell up into this area. Looks pretty clean to me for a continuation down, right, through our initial target here and into demand, right? So pay attention to this level here on GCAD, right? And the same kind of applies to GBP Swiss franc, right? I do want to see this thing seek out the liquidity resting beneath these lows, right? This kind of consolidation. We never had that manipulation, the sell to buy, creating this higher high. So I fully believe this will get run out. Price will likely trade into this old high here. And so with that being the case, again, same type of model, the low, the high, another low, you run out that high, again, trade into supply, right? And then look to push lower, right? So same logic there. Two more, 80 CAD. Cautious with this one because I'm looking at further Aussie strength, right, with AUD USD pushing higher. But again, 80 CAD, two high beta currencies crossed against each other, so it's a little different. But I'm simply looking at the market structure here, looking at these lows as a potential draw on liquidity here, right, after having traded higher, kind of pushing lower, lower high, lower low. This would be that kind of last point of return. So this will be an interesting level to watch, right? See if we get that kind of manipulation, the buy to sell, right? And take it on the pullback continuation. All right? You guys know the drill. And the final cross to touch tonight, Euro Swiss franc. This is a nice level that I like that I gave out to kind of VIP last week. Right, obviously higher time frame at the moment, momentum is to the upside, lower time frame, we're starting to form structure to the downside. We created this kind of ascending liquidity here, this trend line liquidity that was never run out. So I think we can look to target these lows here, right, as we're now shifting lower time frame structure to the downside. Right, so we had our nice inefficiency right here, right, traded higher, didn't reach that level, made a new low. Now we're pushing higher again, trading into the inefficiency. So it'll be nice to see if we can do something like this, right, where we have demand now. If we can kind of trade down lower into that, react, fail, flip, continuation. All right, down into looking to target 9780. 9780, dig down into here. All right, so I'll be looking for the demand to supply flip here on Euro Swiss franc, right, after having reacted off of our inefficiency here. All right, so that pretty much covers it for what I'm looking at thus far. Obviously, everything is subject to change, and time and price, again, can't put enough weight on time and price, how important that is with our trading, with our execution. All right, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. If you like the way we do analysis, you're not yet part of our mentorship, please head over to our website, arielfxtrading.com, and book a free call with either myself or with Nate, and we'll be happy to come up with a solution for you to help you meet your goals. All right, safe trading, guys. Talk to you soon.